Today we're going to talk all things credit, credit reports, credit scores, credit everything, right? This is a workshop for you if you want to learn about credit. Before we start, I want to say my name is Josh Rincon. I'm the program director here at Once Latino. Super excited to be with you guys. Please share this workshop with your friends and family. Today we have Lisa from Bank of Hope, who is an expert, going to be talking about this today, credit. Again, if you have any questions or anything, leave them in the comment section below. We'll see you right now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Hill. I am Vice President, Community Development Officer at Bank of Hope. My responsibilities are providing CRA opportunities in investments, lending, and community service in our assessment areas of California and Washington. Welcome to Bank of Hope Financial Education and Literacy Training Presentation, also known as Hope Felt. This money and value presentation was mutually developed by Bank of Hope and Ideal CDC staff with you in mind. This is one of several financial education presentations developed on money management. Bank of Hope is located in Los Angeles. We are the largest Korean American community bank in the country. We have about over 54 full service branches across 9 states and 13 loan production offices. We are about 40 years old and we have assets of $17.8 billion. Thank you for letting me present to you Money Smart training on credit, reports, and scores. We will discuss credit reports and how the information in your credit reports can affect many areas of your life. You may have heard the term credit report, but perhaps you never looked at one, or maybe you have and you shop for apartments and the landlord may say to you, hey, have you looked at your credit report? And you may not know what that is, or maybe a lender is reviewing your credit report when you apply for a loan. And you have to know how important the credit report is when they're reviewing it, because that allows them to give you a line of credit or also be able to rent an apartment. Now, what is in a credit report? First of all, you're looking at your identity information. So you want to make sure that your credit report has your name and address correctly on there. It also has debts of some bills that you're paying that are going towards a business or financial institution or other organizations or agencies that have extended you credit. This includes like credit cards with your credit limit. There are also home mortgages also report on your credit report, and it shows your monthly payments. Are you paying on time? Your rents are also reported on your credit report as well. And sometimes they will report that if you have not paid or you're delinquent or behind on your rent. So that can show up on your credit report. Many bills or debts that you pay on a regular basis may not be listed on your credit report, such as your utility bills. So when you're looking at opening up your utility bills, they will pull a credit report, but the utility bills, like with the water, electric, gas, they are not on your credit report. And we'll go into that discussion a little bit later. Also, medical debt is not on your credit report when you're paying them on time. They only get reported on a credit report when they go to collection. So always remember that sometimes when credit reports are pulled, medical debt shows up, and then there's an inquiry as to why you have a medical debt collection. You may not know, it might have been years ago, but those show up on your credit report. Also, for public record information, bankruptcies and foreclosures are all shown up on your credit report, and serious delinquent child support payments are. There's also civil liens, tax liens, judgments that are reported on the credit report as well. There are 3 main organizations or agencies that actually report out your credit report or show up as a credit report. It's Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. These are the 3 agencies that report out about your credit report history and also your scores. If you have a credit history, you are likely to have at least 3 separate credit reports from each of these nationwide credit reporting agencies. You have a right to see them as well, and we'll talk about that later on. In addition to the 3 nationwide credit reporting agencies, there are also specialty consumer reporting companies. They provide reports that help other companies make decisions about providing consumers with products and services. For example, you're looking at accounts at a financial institution, could be for an employment, rental housing, insurance, and even your cell phone plans. They pull your credit report. With some of these companies, they may have reports with themselves or about you you have a right to see them based on visiting the consumerfinance.gov. And you can look this up under that website. Want to know, what is a credit score? So credit scores are numbers based on information in your credit reports. They predict likelihood that you will pay your bills and debts as agreed. People with better, which means higher credit scores, are likely to present a low risk to the creditor than people with lower credit scores. Higher credit scores indicate that you pay your bills on time. In the past, are likely to do so in the future. Who use these credit scores? Well, we talked about institutions that actually use these credit scores. We also talked about other credit companies that use these scores, and also your landlord if you're looking for an apartment to rent. And if you're getting a mortgage, of course, your financial institution will be looking at your credit scores and the report. Risk-based pricing. Credit reports and scores may also be used as one factor for risk-based pricing. Other factors can include your employment history and outstanding debts. With the risk-based pricing, lenders can set interest rates and other loan terms based on the estimated risk that a particular consumer will not repay the loan on time. So if you have a really good high score and very good credit, then you actually get a lower interest rate from the lender, and you may get a better rate in turn as well from a lender if you are paying your bills on time. If you get behind, well, usually lenders will refactor out when that happened or take in consideration of when that happened, how that happened. When you declare bankruptcy, of course, that is considered a high risk, and they will recalculate giving you a higher interest at that particular time. And lenders may offer you a lower interest rate when they see that you've been paying on time and start to get your credit score up to par. Sometimes people always think, well, if I just pay everything in cash, is that okay? Well, is that considered that I'm a high credit score risk of having a high credit score? Is that put me in a high credit score? Does that give me a lower interest rate? Really good rate and terms? No, that does not. It's called credit invisible is what that's called. So having no credit scores or reports can be a harder time for you to get a credit approval on a loan, for you to rent an apartment, to even have favorable cell phone plan and obtaining a good job. Some jobs will not decline you because you don't have any credit. And then also you may have to pay a large deposit on utility bills. So to even turn on the water, electricity, or the gas. So if they can't pull credit on you, then you may have to pay that large deposit until you build your credit. So the takeaway from this is your credit history can affect your access to credit, loans, jobs, housing, insurance, and other important services. Understanding your rights helps you know how to protect your credit history. So now we're going to get into credit scores, how to understand the credit scores you're receiving, the factors that affect how your credit scores are calculated, and then also the credit scores that are being used. So your takeaway from this is how to take steps in improving and managing your credit scores. This includes paying your bills on time and as agreed. So the basics of credit scoring, it has to do with the higher the number, the better your credit history. Each entity that provides credit scores has its own calculations or models that they use. You may have heard of FICO score. This is one model that is used quite frequently with lenders, and it helps the lender to make a credit decision on the credit line that you're receiving from them, or the mortgage loan or that you're receiving from them. So the model calculates your scores based on your past history, which is important that you pay on time. It compares it to many other people who have the same obligations and how they are paying. Most recent information are greater weight in the models. In other words, the older the information, the less effect of your scores. There are two significant factors that affect your credit scores: whether you repay debts on time as agreed, how much you currently owe on each account compared to the credit limit, or originally loan amount, which is called the credit utilization rate. So here are the 5 factors that generally the FICO model is used. So as you can see here, there are new credit is 10%, credit mix is 10%, length of credit history is 15%, and then payment history, they are giving a large factor of 35%, and amounts owed is 30%. So if you can see here, 65% of owed and history are factored into your credit score. So it's important, as they say, you pay your bills on time, and then also is keeping your credit low, like the credit amounts that you owe low as well. Here's a look of a chart as to what a good credit score is and where they fall in these categories. So we're looking at an exceptional of 800 to 850, very good, 740 to 799, good, 670, 739, fair, 580, 699, and anything below 580 is poor. So if you have a poor score, you need to build it up. And we'll talk about how you can build up your credit score. And good is very good or exceptional scores. Provide access to most products and services if you have that, especially with the exceptional here at 800, 850, you are likely to be offered lower interest rate, a better term on loans as well, maybe longer term on a loan and a lower interest rate if you have an exceptional score. Anybody with poor or fair usually will not qualify for any of the products and services and may require to put more money down to even get a loan, and you won't have favorable terms or a favorable interest rate. So it's important to build your credit, make sure you're paying on time, make sure that you're checking your report on a yearly basis to see if there are any discrepancies, and if they are, then you can report those, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, the takeaway from this again is you can take steps to improve and manage your credit reports. This includes paying your bills on time. The next section I wanted to talk about is getting and understanding your credit reports and scores. It's important that you do understand how that works and how your credit report is read. And so we'll move on to getting a credit report, being able to review your credit report once a year to make sure that it's accurate information, make sure there's no discrepancies, and if they are, you can actually report that. So we want to make sure that you're able to build, repair, and maintain your credit history. And you need to protect your credit history once you build it and maintain it and repair it. So the takeaway here is credit does not have to be your credit future. So don't make your credit history your credit future. So we want to make sure that when you repair and improve your credit history, you get and review your credit. That's number one every year, going to annualcreditreport.com. Pay all your bills on time as agreed. Make sure even your utility bills, we want to make sure that you pay those on time. Make sure that you're also paying your credit cards and your mortgage and your installment loans on time. Installment loans meaning your car loans or your student loans. And make sure that you're not going over your credit limits. Make sure that you're staying within your lines and your means of living, because when you overextend yourself in credit, then when it comes to paying down your lines or paying off your loans, then you won't have that much money for you to live, or you've got to sacrifice here and there. But make sure that you're within your means on your credit, because sometimes we can overextend and, oh, I have credit, I can get credit anywhere. But then you got to be careful. Interest rates are high on all those credit cards that you accumulated. Also, your debt will go higher. So it could be higher than what you're getting in your paycheck. So you want to make sure that you're paying, you're within your means of making your credit card payments or being able to pay it off or pay it down. So we need to talk about building alternative credit history. So how does that look like and what is that all about? Well, on this slide, building alternative history has to do with rents, childcare, the cell phone bill, electric bill, gas bill, water bill, television service, internet, insurance payment, loans from a friend, and savings. Now, this list is interesting because we talk about alternative credits, especially with minority individuals may not have a credit, may not be able to have credit. And so we look at alternatives, especially if we want to look at making a loan to them. We may ask as a lender for a first-time home buyer program, we may say, hey, I'm gonna send out this verification of rents. It's not showing up on your credit, but I'm gonna send this verification of rents to the landlord that you're renting out. He'll fill it out, tell if you've been paying on time, and tell me how much you've been paying. That is a way of looking at giving you credit. Also, cell phone bill. We can look at a cell phone bill and see if you've been paying on time. We'll ask for 3 months of your cell phone bill. On the cell phone bill, it tells us if you've been paying on time. We look at electric bills, gas bills, water bills. Sometimes we say, hey, you've been renting that apartment, you had electric, you had gas, you had water. Hey, can I see 3 months of your water, gas bill? They'll say yes. And sometimes we'll send out a verification to the water, electric, or gas company and say, how have they been paying? And then they will fill that information out and get it back to us. We can also look at internet service as one of them, but more popular for lenders, I can tell you right now, is the rent. We send out verifications. We've done electric, gas, and water. Now, to maintain your credit, it's important that in order to maintain your credit, you need to pay your bills on time. You need to continue to pay down the debt balance, and then keep portions of the credit at a low balance, and not going over to the highest credit limit on the credit card. So it's important to do that. And don't apply to too much credit. That can also affect your credit report and your score. And avoid any creating new entities, or make sure that you pay your child support, any taxes you owe. Make sure that is paid, because IRS does report that you're not making your payments. On your credit report, that will show up. So make sure that you are taking care of that. And then also on your credit report, if there's any errors, make sure that you dispute them. And keep good records, keep good financial records of all your credit cards and all your credit information. You're able to get help from a financial institution. Also, there are nonprofits out there that do consumer credit counseling. There's also housing counseling agencies such as HUD that are HUD approved, that can help with counseling. I know that there's a couple of organizations that are approved by HUD, so you can check into the housing counseling agencies to help you with your credit. Also, financial education nonprofit organizations are able to help you with your credit. And then certified financial planners, which you have to pay money for, they can help you as well. But you always want to go to your institutions or the nonprofits and housing counselors that are free to you, that can help you with that. So the things that on credit repair scams you have to be careful of is when somebody offers you, hey, I can erase your credit, I can remove that negative information. No, they can't. No one can do that. Only you can do it. And that is writing and disputing that information. Because sometimes they'll take your money, and then if you have to pay up front, it's a scam. If you have to let them use your credit card, that's a scam. So please stay away from anybody who says, I can repair your credit. No, they can't. The best way to go is to go to a nonprofit or a consumer repair company, or consumer that's a nonprofit that they're already paid for helping you get your credit on time and cleaned up. So it's important to go to them and not go to these other people that said, hey, if you pay me $20, I can get that done. No, they can't. So it's not a fast and easy credit repair when you go to them. It takes time to clean up that. It takes time to even start reporting, because you want to make sure you have records of all of that being taken care of. And like I said, don't give up and don't fall for a scam, because it's not quick and easy. There are ways to protect your credit history. It's an initial of you alerting for fraud. If you're active duty in the military, you can actually get your credit reported. Also, the most popular thing that I know of is that you can actually have your credit frozen. I've done that. I've blocked my credit or frozen my credit. So whenever I want, like say I needed a new car, I had to call the 3 agencies to open up my credit for 30 days so that the car company can run my credit, because I did not want them I didn't want anybody to steal my identity. So that protects you from fraud if you have your credit frozen. And you can always open it up, and then it'll close after 30 days of them running your credit. So it's important to do that. All I want to leave you, your takeaway from chapter 5 is that your credit history is not make your credit future. So that's important. I just want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to teach you about the credit history and credit scores.
So the first question that people have asked us, thank you first and foremost, for the
Mm-hmm.
presentation. I know it was a lot of information, like you mentioned, but it was a lot of good information. So
Oh,
thank
good.
you, thank you. A question that I'll ask. There's three questions, general questions that people have asked in the past. The most basic one that people always ask is, what's a good credit score if I want to buy a car or a house? Like, what's a good range to be at, or somewhere where I should be at if I'm not there yet?
That is a good question. What I've seen for lenders and just being more conservative on my end, especially with the first time home buyers, let me just go there on that page real quickly. I'm just looking at the credit scores that are listed in the range that it is in. So on page 19 of the credit scores and stuff that are listed here, usually fair, you would be in the fair market. So yeah, it's right between 580 and 669. That is probably where a lot of first-time home buyers land, especially when they're building their credit. But of course, excellent credit is 670. Anything over 670 is the best. But for first-time home buyers, it'd be 650. Fair.
Okay, so that's good to know. So 580
Yeah.
to 650 is what you see as the
Yeah.
average.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now,
Mhm.
the last question, which a lot of people I'm pretty sure are wondering too, is if we enter a recession, in the next
Mhm.
couple months, or maybe we're already in one already, is it going to be a lot harder to get access to credit? And what do these interest rate hikes from the Federal Reserve, is that going to make, my credit card, interest rate go higher, go lower? What does that mean for the average person?
That is another good question. I could tell you at this point, in some of my credit cards, especially I've seen hikes go up, even
Mhm.
though I'm paying on time or kept my balance in check and stuff, but they are hiking up 1 to 2 points and stuff. I would just be able to tell them to really read carefully about the interest rate that they're getting, because you don't want to get an outrageous interest rate at this time. If you can stay, I don't know, in this recession, I don't know how many months or years it will be, but if they can stay steady in what they have and not try to spend more, they will be fine. And I know that money is tight because of that 1 or 2% that they're hiking up right now, or it's taking effect now. So it's better to not try to get anything at this point. Just, I know it's tight and it's hard, because we all want to spend or go after something that we want. And the question is it what I want or is it what I need?
Mhm.
If it's what I need, if it's a car I need, then I probably do the sacrifice. If it's something I want, I don't know, a new bed, hey, the lumpy bed can wait for me. I can wait on getting a new bed. Okay. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. But it's important to kind of stay steady at where we are.
Okay.
I know it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree. And that's a whole other workshop we can do,
Yeah,
wants versus needs.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that wraps up, the questions that we have, especially because a lot of the audience is asking in regards to the recession and stuff like that, because that's all over the news, right? Every day we see that.
Yeah.
That's the hot word that people are saying right now. But I think this presentation is perfect for the time that we're in, and for
Yes.
people this is a great time to review their credit scores, their credit reports, and all that.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely great. So thank you so much, Lisa,
yes.
and everyone at Bank of Hope for bringing this presentation. We appreciate it. I don't know if you have any final words or anything before we end.
No, I just want to thank you as well to give me this opportunity, and I look forward to next what is it next month? Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. We look
All
forward to it
right.
as well. You take
Okay.
care.
You too. Bye bye.
Wow, that was a lot of great information. To me, the most important thing, everything was great, very important, but one thing that stuck out to me is being able to see that graph that shows what your credit report or your credit score entails. Is it your payment history, the new credit, the mix of credit, all that. That way you can better understand, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong and how I can improve my credit. That has helped me tremendously to improve my credit and able to get access to loans for cars, eventually buy my house one day, and all of that. And hopefully the same for you. Again, my name is Josh Rincon, the program director here at Once Latino, and thankful for all of you guys for being part of this workshop. Please watch us next time. Take care.